Brisbane International. Rafael Nadal suffers defeat against Jordan Thompson on comeback. Spanish great Rafael Nadal's comeback to tennis came to an end when he lost a 3 hours 25 minutes marathon quarterfinal to Australian Jordan Thompson at the Brisbane International on Friday. Thompson saved 3 match points in the second set before overcoming an increasingly fatigued Nadal 5-7, 7-6, 8-6, 6-4 in a grueling encounter that finished just before midnight on Pat Rafter Arena. Playing his first tournament after almost 12 months away from the sport through injury, Nadal appeared headed for a straight sets win after claiming the first set and then getting to a 6-4 lead in the second set tiebreak. But an inspired Thompson refused to go away and took advantage of some unforced errors from the Spaniard to clinch the second set. Nadal, who was broken early in the third set, took a medical timeout at 1-4 down after appearing to need treatment to his upper left thigh. He was able to continue but was unable to break back, and Thompson held on to the delight of the capacity crowd. "I completely forgot I saved match points," Thompson said immediately afterwards. "To beat Rafa in Brisbane in a quarterfinal, and I think it is now my first semifinal on a hard court, I couldn't be happier." Thompson will now play second seed Grigor Dimitrov in the semifinals after the Bulgarian's 6-1, 6-4 victory over Australian Rinky Hijikata. The second semifinal sees top-seeded Dane Holger Rune up against Russian Roman Saifulin. Rune looked in great touch as he downed Australian qualifier James Duckworth 6-2, 7-6, 8-6, while unseeded Saifulin beat Italy's Matteo Arnaldi 7-6, 7 quarters, 6-2. Nadal had gone into his quarterfinal against Thompson in superb touch following relatively easy wins in his opening 2 rounds. But Thompson, the world number 55, ensured that the Spaniard wouldn't have it all his own way, returning well throughout to constantly pressure Nadal's serve. Despite losing his serve for the first time this tournament at 3-3 in the opener, Nadal was able to break Thompson twice to clinch a tight first set in 70 minutes. Thompson threw everything at Nadal in the second set, playing some superb tennis, but the Spaniard was able to somehow absorb the pressure. It looked like vintage Nadal as he turned the screws in the tiebreak, opening a 3-0 lead. But Thompson came back to level at 3-3, then saved 2 match points at 6-4 down, clinching the set in 83 minutes. Nadal began to look tired at the start of third set, in contrast to the Australian, and it came as no surprise when he was broken early in the third, with Thompson comfortably holding on. In the women's draw, Aryna Sabalenka fired a warning ahead of her Australian Open defense by powering into the semifinals with a straight sets demolition of Daria Kasatkina. Sabalenka's 6-1, 6-4 victory was her 14th consecutive win on Australian soil after also claiming the Adelaide crown in the lead-up to last year's opening Grand Slam of the year. The Belarusian raced through the first set against the Russian in 32 minutes, but had to fight harder in the second, breaking Kasatkina once and holding on to win the match in 1 hour 26 min. Sabalenka will now play fellow Belarusian Victoria Azarenka with a 2023 Australian Open final replay against second seed Elena Rybakina, a possibility for Sunday's decider. Former Grand Slam champions Azarenka and Rybakina reached the semis in contrasting fashion. 2-time Australian Open winner Azarenka took 2 hours 30 minutes before finally outlasting third-seeded Latvian Jelena Ostapenko 6-3, 3-6, 7-5 in the first match on Pat Rafter Arena. Rybakina was then handed a spot in the last 4 when her Russian opponent Anastasia Potapova withdrew with a stomach problem after losing the first set 6-1.